This brief talk is intended to serve as a primer for any clinical practice site that is considering inviting its patients to enroll in clinical trials. On your screen is a table that differentiates between clinical practice and clinical research in terms of expectations, duties, and the required changes to workflow. It's a screen grab from a freely available training module of the Society for Clinical Research Sites, an organization that provides free guidance to staff that is new to clinical research. Part of the guidance is free. Correction there. There are multiple free resources and discussion groups available online, including podcasts that can be used to train oneself. Scope for certification also exists through the Society for Clinical Research Association. However, even to be eligible for the certification, some prior experience in clinical research is necessary. So everybody's got to start somewhere. The point is, when there is motivation and incentive, people can learn. Certification currently is not mandated by every organization. In fact, in many major organizations too, after a point, coordinators will train each other. Broadly speaking, there are three major categories of training. One is regulatory compliance. This includes making the submissions, IRB submissions, protocol amendments, communicating with the IRB members. Second part is financial compliance, making sure that any study-related visit is only billed to the trial sponsor and never to the patient's own health insurance. This is a serious error that does happen quite frequently, and it can erode trust in the research process. People can become wary of participating in the future if their health insurance wrongly got billed. And thirdly, the component of training that is very important is meeting documentation standards. Let's talk about documentation a little bit more. Clinical research is a highly regulated process. It's frequently audited. So data collection and extensive record keeping are necessary. In some cases, in often most cases, even after the study closeout, documents will need to be stored at the site organization for up to 3 to 5 years, depending on what the protocol says. So earmarking space for this right in the beginning is again important. A lot of forms need to be filled out. Compensation and time allocation right at the beginning for this is necessary. Further, it's important to note that any serious adverse event has to be seen by a qualified medical professional within 24 hours as a part of any research study. Your support staff, your research staff cannot do this. A nurse or a physician who's listed on the protocol and is licensed to practice on site are the only individuals who can do this, and hence time has to be budgeted for that too. This is a screen grab from another freely available resource on one of the university websites. This is a good mnemonic, Alcoa plus C, to follow whenever documentation is to be done in relation to any research study. Language examples are available on multiple websites. Language templates should be available right at the beginning of the study, and the research staff should go through it in the beginning itself. There are multiple bottlenecks that can arise at every phase of the study, and it is important to think through in advance how they will be navigated for a successful trial experience. Study activation in itself can be a challenge and time-taking. Do a feasibility check. Can you earmark dedicated physical space within the office site for this? Is there space for storing the investigational drug agent or the device that is being trialed? Is there scope for remote consenting? Is there digital infrastructure that's going to be included? Is there scope for video monitoring during certain site visits so that patients repeatedly don't have to keep coming for monitoring visits? Budget for all of these things in the beginning and make them a part of your contract negotiation. Know your startup costs right in the beginning. It's important that the staff reads not only the research protocol to judge how feasible it will be to actually recruit participants, but also goes through the legal contract. Account for screen failures. Not every person who is eligible for the study will want to participate in it. However, the time and effort that are spent in trying to enroll somebody still need to be paid for. If the study sponsor is not reimbursing participants financially, ensure that there is some decent non-financial incentive available. It could be free parking. If overnight stays are required, then hotel accommodation should be provided for, and all of this should be negotiated right in the beginning. For any subsequent budget renegotiation, you have to go on collecting extensive evidence, documentary evidence for why you need the budget to be increased. Participant recruitment and retention are major bottlenecks and the reason for delays of multiple trials. There are research sites, clinical practice sites functioning as research sites that are not able to enroll a single participant. There are sites that grossly under-enroll, and in these situations, companies can pull contracts and future partnerships can be impacted. So it's important to plan recruitment strategies in advance. During negotiation of the budget, it's prudent to also include some funds for trialing the recruitment material itself so that patients' acceptability and openness of trials can be judged in advance and it does not end up being a wasted endeavor. Remote consenting, remote monitoring has already been discussed. Scope for alternative care locations. Is there some place closer to the patient's residence where they can show up for a monitoring visit instead of coming to the main site? Read through the contract carefully to ensure that liability is not being shared with the practice site. At the end of the day, the safety and experience of patients is primary, not as research subjects, but as patients. So this is something to always be aware of. The impact of the trial experience on your relationship with patients. Finally, this is a contract negotiation checklist that's sourced from a publication out of the pharmacology department of KEM Hospital in Mumbai, India, which has extensive experience in conducting industry-sponsored trials. Site fee schedule should be determined right in the beginning to ensure a steady cash flow throughout the duration of the study. When will the money be released? Will it be at the first data collection point or will it be at the nth study visit? Language templates, communication logs, all of them should be negotiated in the beginning. Standard operating procedures refers to the protocol itself. There are multiple resources and papers available to coach oneself through every step of the research process. As I mentioned, there is always a possibility of a trial being shut down. There's always a possibility of a contract being pulled. In these situations, if additional staff has been brought on, they will bear the brunt. They will bear the negative consequences. Upskilling of people who are already within the organization is a very real possibility and it helps everybody. Hope this was a helpful primer and it helped you in deciding how and when to take the final leap. Research is exciting. Helping to launch promising drugs and devices that could help patients is deeply fulfilling. Staying aware and staying prepared is key. Thanks for listening and watching.